Recently, The Miz has been a topic of conversation online because he is the WWE superstar with the most losses ever in the history of the WWE. But as it turns out, he's not the only big loser in the history of the WWE. Because when you go back through the years in the history of the WWE, you're gonna find that there are people that racked up losses left, right, and center, and many of these names are gonna surprise you. Because today, we're gonna go back in time over the past 20 years and look at every single year to see who had the most losses in the WWE that year. And again, some of these names are going to shock you. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know that you're gonna fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. All right, let's jump into it. Since we're doing the past 20 years, we're gonna start at the year 2004. If you're good at math, you'll realize that that was 20 years ago. And this is gonna blow your mind. In 2004, the WWE superstar with the most losses was none other than one of the pillars of the ruthless aggression era, Batista, with a total of 106 losses. Now, to clarify, this does encompass all of the losses on live television as well as all of the losses on house shows as well. Now, Batista was more or less the second in command of the heel stable of Evolution, which means that if any babyface wanted to get to Triple H, more often than not, they had to beat Batista left, right, and center on live TV and all throughout the country in live shows to get a chance at Triple H. So Batista became really easy and very believable fodder in the world of the WWE back in 2004 because it made sense with the narrative that they had on screen and the type of character that he was. It's kind of crazy to think about considering what a huge, giant, mega over, unstoppable babyface he would end up becoming in like a year at this point. In 2005 is the only year that we have a tie. And not only do we have a tie, we have a three-way tie, and all three of these guys are legends of the business. The first person at 106 losses is Christian. This is the year that he cut his hair. He did the whole thing like with the Peeps. He had the feud with Chris Jericho, and yes, he was a loss machine, and he was near the top of the mid-card as well. And being a heel in the mid-card typically meant that not only are you eating losses from the baby faces in the mid-card, but you're also gonna eat losses from the top baby face on the main event scene, wherever it is that you are, whether TV or house shows. The other one is actually JBL. And remember, JBL for the first 4.5 months of this year was WWE champion. So he actually didn't lose a lot. So a lot of these losses came on the back of after he lost the WWE championship to John Cena at WrestleMania 21 in 2005. And then this one's gonna blow your mind because I don't really see how this makes any sense. Kurt freaking Angle is tied with 106 losses in 2005, which is just absolutely insane. Now, Kurt Angle was a top heel at the time. If you remember, this is the year that he feuded with Shawn Michaels in that beautiful match that they had at WrestleMania 21. But I guess being a heel just generally means that you're going to be eating losses left, right, and center, especially on house shows. 2006 was a runaway. We're not going to have any ties anymore, but it's kind of funky to see that in 2006, the person with the most losses was somebody that was a WWE champion in 2006, that being Edge. And I can promise you that out of the 119 losses that this man ate, a bunch of them probably came at the hands of John Cena throughout the year at house shows. That's just what tends to happen if John Cena is around. 2007 is a bit of a funky year, okay? Because the person with the most losses is actually Finlay at 103. We've been seeing people who are like the top heels at the top of the card in the main event scene, and Finlay wasn't necessarily that. However, just like Christian, he was the top heel in the mid card at around this time. Now, if you actually look at the leaderboard of 2007, you'll actually find a very familiar name at the second position, and that's Randy Orton. Again, another one of these top heels, probably eating losses to John Cena left, right, and center at house shows. In 2008, we're gonna dip our toes back into the mid-card with somebody that was a United States champion for a good portion of this year, and it's actually MVP, who ate 116 losses during this year. And I think it's easy to pin MVP, both literally and figuratively, as somebody who could just eat these losses because he is a heel in the mid-card, and having him lose routinely isn't gonna damage his stock in the main event scene, considering he wasn't ever in it in the first place. 2009 and the next couple of years, I think things get really funky, because this is where the WWE says, we don't care that you're at the top of your game. We don't care that you are a world champion. We don't care that you are a first ballot Hall of Famer. You're gonna be eating losses to John Cena at house shows left, right, and center if you're the top heel, because that's what happened to Randy freaking Orton, the guy with the most losses at 128. Now, 2009, so many people label as the year of Randy Orton, maniacal, bald Randy Orton. That was born in 2009. Now, I bet that a lot of these losses, yes, are probably at the hand of John Cena, of course, on live TV, but also at house shows. But a lot of these losses, whether it's house shows or on TV, are actually disqualification because of his stable that he was a part of and was the leader of in Legacy. So that's also something that you got to take into consideration here. But he was a top guy, world champion. He won the Royal Rumble. Like, he was just at the top of the game during this year, and he's still at the top of the list of losses. 2010, I think, is an easy one, but I do think that the WWE planned on making this guy a superstar. And you know what? It probably didn't help to have him lose left, right, and center, but he became a world champion in this year. He won the Money in the Bank this year, and he still just ate losses left, right, and center, because this was a time where the WWE didn't really care about protecting their top heel. Just go out there and lose to John Cena or whoever it is that the top babyface that it might be at that time. And this was Jack Swagger. And yeah, I know, Jack Swagger, you probably know him as somebody that eats losses left, right, and center, but 2010, he was like a top guy. Like, this is who they were grooming to be a next top heel in the WWE, and it probably doesn't help that he lost 135 times on the same year that he won a World Heavyweight Championship and won a Money in the Bank briefcase. That doesn't make any sense to me. And we're gonna continue with these trends of WWE just not being afraid to bury these top heels that were top champions, because 2011 was a great year for The Miz, and it's also the year that he had the most losses ever in his career at 144. A little bit of a spoiler alert, because a lot of people are probably thinking that it's going to be The Miz from here on out. You don't see The Miz again at all on this list. He had a lot of second, third, and fourth places here, but he actually isn't at the top of the mountain of losses again for the rest of his career. It's just very telling of how WWE treated these guys that weren't named John Cena. Everything at this time was built around John Cena, and if that wasn't your name, you are losing every single night. That was just honestly kind of lazy. 2012, I think that you kind of know the narrative here. We have Dolph Ziggler. Like, why is a guy that's walking around with your Money in the Bank briefcase, a guy that when he's holding that briefcase, you're telling the world he's your next guy up, he is your next champion, and you're having him eat 154 losses? Are you kidding me? And he was losing to everyone, whether it was John Cena, CM Punk, everyone was beating Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler wasn't winning anything at around this time. To be fair, Dolph Ziggler was a fantastic loser. He could make anyone look great in defeat, which is why so many people love Dolph Ziggler, because he was just so good, whether he was winning or losing. 2013, gonna blow your mind, all right? This blew my mind. It's Seth Rollins, and actually, it's basically all three members of the Shield, 1, 2, and 3 this year, because I remember the Shield being incredibly dominant on television, and no one could beat them, no one could touch them. But I guess, as it turns out, the storylines that happened on TV don't always carry to whatever happens on house shows, because these guys were losing every single house show that they were a part of, whether it's disqualification, I don't know, I wasn't at those house shows, but they lost a lot. And Seth Rollins, out of all of the members of the Shield, had the most singles matches throughout these house shows, and ergo why he has so many losses here at 160. But Roman Reigns was like in second place, and Dean Ambrose was right below them. So it's kind of crazy to think about that on screen they were so dominant, but in reality, they actually weren't. 2014 is kind of similar to what we just saw. It's another member of a very on-screen dominant faction, that being Luke Harper of the Wyatt family. If you look at the list here, a lot of the Wyatt family is up there, like Bray Wyatt as well as Rowan. But here it's Luke Harper at 140 losses in 2014. Kind of crazy to see. 2015, this one kind of caught me off guard because I kind of completely forgot about this guy. But Victor of the Ascension ate a total of 143 losses. To this day, I still think that the Ascension is the most criminally poorly used NXT call-up ever, because they were the most dominant NXT tag team champions of all time. To this day, no one has topped the dominance of the Ascension in the early days of NXT, only to be called up and immediately get jobbed out and get clowned on by everyone. Quite literally clowned on. I'm pretty sure they lost the match to Doink the Clown. But when it comes to the singles record, it was Victor that topped the list here at 143 losses. 2016 was actually the year of Tyler Breeze, who ate 163 losses. There you go, pretty boy. 2017 was a legendary losing streak. A legendary losing streak that will probably never be matched. It can only be matched by The Undertaker's amazing WrestleMania streak. That being Curt Hawkins, now Brian Myers, 128 losses. Now, you've seen bigger numbers in these. We've seen numbers in the 150s, 160s already. But what you need to understand is that that is 128 losses in a row. This is the legendary year of the Brian Myers, Curt Hawkins losing streak, where he went 128 across Raw and across house shows. He lost every single freaking match. So shout out to Curt Hawkins for having this amazing record. 2018 will actually have the only person that is going to appear multiple times on this list. And it's kind of crazy because, again, this is a guy that was being billed as a top guy on Friday Night SmackDown, the land of opportunity. And that was Baron Corbin, who not only lost matches routinely, but even when he was meant to be important, he would lose. Like, for example, when he had the Money in the Bank briefcase cashed in and failed. I know that was 2017, but all of that losing continued to carry forward into 2018. But you're going to see Baron Corbin one more time here. 2019 makes me angry that this is even a thing. Like, why? How could you do this to this person? Why is Cesaro eating 111 losses? To be frank, a lot of these aren't just Cesaro losing one-on-one matches. This is the year that he was part of The Bar, which was a top heel tag team on Monday Night Raw. And you already know, as you've seen across this list, the people on this list are heels, because heels just lose house show matches all the freaking time. Again, as we saw with the Shield, even if they're dominant on TV, you got to send the people from house shows home happy, and that's always with the babyface standing on top. I don't think I've ever been to a house show where the heels finish the show standing tall. It just doesn't happen. And I guess that was just what happened to Cesaro, losing every single tag team match, losing every single singles match that he had this year, and totaled a mass of 111 losses. At least 111 is a beautiful number. 2020, and from here on out, you're going to see lower numbers in terms of losses. One, because of the Panini Press. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the big P word on YouTube without getting demonetized. So we're going to call it the Panini Press. And then I do believe that the WWE starts to scale down in terms of workload for a lot of these top heels across house shows. So you're going to be seeing numbers under 100 for the first time really ever. So first, let's look at 2020. I told you he was going to be in it again. It is King Corbin this time at 42 losses. And frankly, if it wasn't for the pandemic, I wouldn't be surprised if King Corbin would have broken the record, because there weren't any house shows beyond, I believe, March. So think about that. He managed to pick up 42 losses pretty much exclusively on live TV in the Thunderdome in the Performance Center. That's impressive. I feel like he was on pace for a legendary Michael Jordan-like run here. 2021 was a year that we spent some of it in front of fans. I believe house shows did kind of return towards the latter half of the year, but the first portion of the year was all in the Thunderdome. So we still have a pretty small number here, but I also think that the person is going to shock you because it's not the top heel, but similarly to Batista in 2004, it's the underling, the person right beneath the top heel. This time it was main event Jey Uso, not so main event at the time, who ate 51 losses during this time. Again, all part of people wanting to go after Roman Reigns and Jey Uso being the one that usually takes the pinfall right before the babyface gets to Roman, where they would inevitably always lose. 2022, the number is going to go up because now we're back into the normal swing of things. We're back in the house shows. However, the WWE superstars at this time don't have the crazy schedule that they did in the previous years that we've looked at. In 2022, believe it or not, it's Seth Rollins again. So I lied. I guess it wasn't just Baron Corbin. I guess Seth Rollins technically did appear twice on this list, even though in 2013 it was a lot of Shield losses. But yeah, to be fair, Seth Rollins was the top heel at this time that wasn't named Roman Reigns because Roman Reigns wasn't taking losses. So somebody had to be the one to eat the pins at house shows to send the crowd home happy. It wasn't going to be Roman. So it was Seth Rollins. God damn it. I hate that laugh. 2023 is the last full year that we have on this list, and it's actually another, I guess, second in command to a faction, heel faction, of course, this time being Ludwig Kaiser at 79 losses. This is the year that Gunther was one of the top heels in the company, but he was such a dominant heel that he wasn't the one taking these losses and closing house shows with his shoulders on the mat. It was his henchman. It was Ludwig Kaiser. So you can see we have a little bit of a change some years where sometimes it is the top heel that takes all of these losses. Sometimes it's the person that's related to the top heel. It's just interesting to see those dynamic changes year by year. And then in 2024, it's sad to think about, but it is Shinsuke Nakamura at a total of 39 losses. Maybe he won't finish the year on this list, but if he doesn't finish the year at the top of this list, it's because they stopped showing him on TV, because as of the making of this video, we haven't seen Shinsuke on TV in a very, very long time. We shall see though, but I think he's still eating losses on house shows as far as I can tell. All right, folks, thanks so much for watching this video. Let me know if any of these kind of caught you off guard. 2013 Rollins in the Shield is the one that caught me the most off guard. Let me know. All right, I'm done. Get out of here.